Hello, my name is Moises Beato, and I'm here to interview for the Story Art intern position. I'd like to thank you guys for taking the time to meet me and interview me, and I'm very humbled to have this opportunity to be here today. So, I'd like to take time to tell you about the questions that I'm going to be reading today. So, I've chosen three, and if you just give me a second to look at that, I will be happy to get started. So the first question is talking about the creative process and some of the major steps that I take when I approach a project in my field. So when I do the following, I like to start off with references and research on the prompt. Look for any similar storylines or maybe story arcs that I can sort of think of and gather a feeling for what I'm reading. Think about what is being told here and what is being asked of me. After the reference and research stage, I'd like to say that I start what's called like a visual layout or a mood board, and then I do some rough thumbnails and a couple sticky notes of some compositions and some boards that I think tell a cohesive story. After I make sure that it's saying what I'd like it to, I'd like to begin with putting those rough thumbnails into my boarding program and getting a feel for how it looks in an animatic. Once the animatic is up to par, then I would do some edits, some cleanups, and then get the board started and then actually start boarding. Once the animatic is up to par, then I would like to begin cleanup on the boards and polish them from there. So, some good skills and qualities a storyboard artist should have are strong draftsmanship, an eye for cinematography, and an knack for storytelling. I think those are the key components to a good quality storyboard artist. But first off, I'd like to say strong draftsmanship because we'd like to be able to identify a character on a board and know exactly what we're looking at. We wouldn't want to be able to struggle when we watch something because we can't tell whether that's a character or that's maybe like a log or a prop or a background. We definitely want to be able to know on screen that that is the character or that is something that we should pay attention to. I think when it comes to a knack for storytelling, it's about things like cinematography, perspective, keeping it dynamic, and making sure you have an idea about where you want to place your characters and what do you want to tell, especially when it comes to acting as well, because what is the character feeling? What are the characters doing? It's all really important, and these are all good things to have when you are doing a board. So I think that is some of the things that I feel a quality storyboard person should have. When it comes to incorporating feedback into my work, I'd like to say that I begin with internalizing and pausing to soak in the feedback before I make any sudden changes. And as soon as that's done soaking in, I'd like to take a second to make notes and key highlights on what exactly is being told to me. After that, I look at the mission objective or the task assigned to me and I make sure that the feedback aligns with what we were trying to do in the first place. As soon as I do that, I incorporate the feedback and I make the changes asked of me, and then I send them off to whoever needs it. Hey again. So, our third question is, what is a time that you received harsh criticism and how did you implement that feedback into your work? So, this is a two-parter, so I'm going to just answer the first part and then I'm going to answer the second part. So the first part I'd say, when I had harsh criticism for a work, I'd like to think about the making of my original short film, Maya and the Groms. So initially, it was not that it was harsh criticism, it was more of a group critique that I had a bit of pressure when I was being critiqued. And so doing so, I felt nervous, and what was actually constructive criticism was being received, may or may not, was probably harsh criticism. As I recall, my professor calls it the gremlin of doubt, but I'd say that I had that on my shoulder, and I definitely felt I was defending what was on screen. And for a while, when I was receiving feedback, I was told to just take it in. And that's what I did. I internalized the feedback and I thought about it and I took notes. And I realized that a lot of what was being told to me was true. This story and what I was trying to tell wasn't being conveyed correctly, and it wasn't clear enough to the audience that I was trying to convey it to. And thus, I had to think about that and think about what I wanted to deliver with this project. So if I wasn't able to tell a clear story, then I wasn't doing the job. So that aside, I learned to put my emotions aside, and I just really decided to hone in on what I came to do, which was tell the story about these kids who are trying to win the skate competition and simply just face the adversity that they've been given. You know, keep going no matter what. So, with that feedback implemented, I think that the reception to the film was better, it was clearer, and I think I could convey what was being asked of me. So, I definitely can tell you that leaving that presentation, it felt like harsh criticism, but as soon as I thought about it more and realized that I wasn't being attacked and more so I was trying my I'm sorry, can I think for a second? That my group members and my classmates were literally trying to just give me feedback, I would say that's what I thought of it as. I thought about it as constructive feedback that simply helped me tell what I was trying to tell better. So as soon as I thought about that, I realized no one's against me. There's no one that's not on my side. So it was a hard lesson to learn for sure because I think my professor put it greatly, but it was to not get attached to what I had brought to the table, and to simply learn that whatever it is that you have will inevitably change. And that's actually what kind of ended up happening with my project. It just changed. Was it the same thing that I was trying to tell in the first place? I'd say no, but ultimately it's doing what I intended in the first place. So I'd say that it was a successful project, excuse me, and I'd say that it was received well. So yeah, that's the answer to the question. Thank you guys so much for your time.